And then I was competing. So I just wanted to get better and stronger. I didn't have any coach telling me how to do it. So I was like, well, I'll just figure it out on my own. And I also worked at 5 CrossFit gyms. So what happens when you work at CrossFit gyms is people ask you to work out afterwards. There's other coaches around. And so they're like, hey, do you want to go do a workout now? Like, yeah, I do. So sometimes I was doing 4 workouts a day. And then my rest days, I felt very guilty about resting. And so I'd run 5 miles. I would do row sprints. I would do uphill sprints. And so my rest days were active rest days, body weight workouts. And I was never resting. I was just completely beating my central nervous system down, never recovering. But I was getting results. I was continually lifting heavier and I hadn't hit the wall yet. And I competed in regionals in 2011 and then did better in 2012. I put 30 pounds on in a year by simply fucking working out all the time.
Yeah.
And then I got 11th in 2011 and then 8th in 2012. And so some improvement. And then in 2000, right after that regionals, I injured my shoulder in a workout. And that was my first like big injury where it was like, okay, something's weird. How did I do that?
What were you doing?
A snatch. It was a 1 rep max snatch in a competition. And so I injured my shoulder. And so that kind of pulled me back a little bit. And then I would look in the mirror. My acne was out of control. I mean, it was so bad, cystic acne all around my face. I was 30 pounds heavier. I literally looked in the mirror and I remember crying my face off because I'm like, I don't know who I am. I don't recognize myself. Who is this person? And now I'm thinking, whatever I'm doing is not working. So I need to do the opposite. But my identity is CrossFit. I am CrossFit. I've created that. I am paleo. And so saying that I'm not that anymore, when you're younger, you're so attached to identities. And so to say that I'm not a CrossFit anymore was like, no way could I do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut back.
You loved it. It wasn't that you hated CrossFit.
Loved it.
Right? I love it, you know?
I coached full time and I, was known for that in the community. And all my friends were CrossFitters. I met my husband at CrossFit. Like my whole life was around it. And so to say that I'm not going to go to the gym as often was really hard. And it made you feel like you were lazy when I'm saying like, okay, I'm only going to work out once a day instead of 4 times a day.
I get it.
Like, I like to think that I went from maybe 21 workouts a week to 5 workouts a week. Like that's a huge difference.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, no, you're going to stick with it. You are going to lift lighter because your body aches everywhere and you have injuries. And you are going to do way less workouts and you're going to stick with this. And I cried through workouts because the coaches and my friends there would be like, why aren't you doing 95 pound thrusters?
Why are you using 65?
Yeah.
Why are you RXing it? Why aren't you RX plusing it?
Yes. And they're like, no, put more weight on the bar. And I was like, no.
Like, come on, Julie, you know you can do more.
Yes. And these were people I looked up to and they were my peers. And they're like, Julie, come on, don't do that. You're a coach. You need to do prescribed. And I would cry through workouts knowing that I could physically do something and I wasn't doing it. But I told myself I'm going to do this. And so I started trying other workouts too. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to do more cardio based stuff. And so then I started doing Orange Theory, same HIIT style training, longer workouts, but very high intensity. I started running more.
Did you notice a change when you started sort of shifting the programming?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see a change. I felt more so like it was leading to injuries because it was like nonstop running.
Sure.
Going through
repetition.
Like tons of repetitions. So, but I just was trying to find my new thing, my new identity. I just needed to find a new identity. And so Orange Theory didn't work. I tried Pilates. Have you ever tried a VersaClimber class?
No, but I've tried a VersaClimber for sure.
Yes.
I've definitely used a VersaClimber. They're
so
brutal.
I did that. They're brutal.
Brutal.
But you're so addicted to pain and putting your body through pain. And you think that if you didn't work that hard and you're not drenched in sweat, that
you didn't really work out.
Yeah. That you're not getting anything.
I get
you're
it.
not going to see change. And so it was step by step. I started decreasing my weights more and more in CrossFit. And it took me 3 years, but I lost 30 pounds in 3 years.
That's amazing.
By simply, cutting back, which is like normal weight loss for a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And just by slowly cutting back in weights and being more lenient with my diet, because I was like eating a ton of nut butters because, that was kind of where paleo was at. I'm like,
sure.
Well, nut butter doesn't work well for me and my skin issues. So why am I doing this? I'm going to have some more potatoes instead of having a higher fat.
So do you think there was a big calorie shift, or do you think it was just some sort of energetic freedom, food freedom?
I think both.
Because like it's one thing to change the food and be like, not mention that you're eating drastically less calories or less calories. But sometimes I think there's some energy behind it too, of just not getting attached too much, not thinking so much about the weight and more about the enjoyment, more about the freedom, less punishment, more flow.
Well, and it's less cortisol then because you're not stressing.
Yeah.
So that's what I think was one of the main things. I definitely, obviously calories are a huge part of weight loss, but I think that shift in stress hormone that happened in my body by working out less and by stressing less about food.
Yeah.
Because I stopped thinking about it all the time. It didn't consume my entire day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I slowly started losing weight, feeling so much better. I would wake up without aches and pains. And then the less I did CrossFit, the better I felt. And the more I wanted to try different types of workouts. So I wanted to try more strength-based workouts. So I started doing more bodybuilder style workouts where you're doing a 3x10 or a 3x6 or a 2x12. Very simple things where I'm not increasing my heart rate that much. You get a little spike and then it comes back down. But it's not CrossFit where you're tasting blood in your lungs, where you have to lie on the floor afterwards. You're more so like, oh, my butt's cramping a little bit.
Yeah.
Your legs are feeling tired,
right?
But you're never laying on the floor acting like a dead fish, like wailing in pain. And I started doing that and I continually felt better. I didn't have pain in my traps anymore, which I had for 7 years. I didn't have
and
issues
you had
in my
traps
hips.
too.
Yes.
Because when you clean the bar and you pull it up.
Constant cleaning, constant
Actually, since I've done less CrossFit too, because I really haven't been to a CrossFit class, and doesn't mean I haven't done CrossFit moves. I mean, I still clean the bar. You still do some of that stuff too.
Totally.
But I don't do CrossFit only. And it's probably been, what was that? It's probably been since the beginning of 20. So it's probably been a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I noticed is that when I put my purse on my shoulder with the strap, it doesn't just fall right off, because when your traps are so big, things just slide right off.
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking about that the other day.
That's so funny you noticed that.
My strap stays on my shoulder now.
Yeah. Yeah, like you get huge traps with CrossFit because there's so much pulling movements. You just do so much pulling. And I noticed as I started getting into these different style workouts, so much what was lacking in CrossFit. Like a lot of unilateral movements, a lot of lateral movements.
Yeah.
I had really not much strength in my inner thighs and outer leg. Like I just was missing a lot of strength in my glutes. And I started doing a lot more glute work because I just wanted to build a bigger butt. But it really improved my squat. I didn't have hip pain anymore that I had during CrossFit. Wow. So I was seeing these really great improvements from doing less CrossFit. And then I would go to a class and just drop into a class. And I have a competitive nature. It just comes back. And I don't want to lessen my weight. I don't want to reduce my weight. And I don't want to be last. And so I push it really hard.
Yeah,
and
we talked about this. It's so hard. You go in there and you're like, it's like an addict, and you're like, oh my God, I can totally do bar muscle ups. I haven't done them in a year and a half, but why not?
Yes.
Let's do it. Like the Open came about this year, and it was like the Open had a clean and jerk, and then bar muscles up in the same workout. It was like something with bar muscle ups, and then afterwards you had to find your 1 rep max for a clean and jerk. And I was doing bar muscle ups, and I mean, I can do them, but I hadn't done them in at that point, like, I don't know, a year and, or 9 months at least, or something like that, maybe over a year. Cause I had done a lot less hanging on the bar, even when I was there at the end, cause I felt like my upper body was just so built. Yeah. And, but But I was like, screw it. It's the open. And I was by myself. So imagine what happens when I go to an actual gym and I get like, you know, prodded into, or like my own guilt, really. It's not anybody else always. And I did them, and I did the clean and jerk too. And I was surprised that I did. I think I got like 130 for the clean and jerk. And I was surprised.